Hey, welcome back to Bahasa Little Projects. In this lesson, we will discuss about the do's and don'ts in Bahasa Indonesia. So when you are speaking in Bahasa Indonesia in Indonesia, there are several things that you should do and several things that you should avoid. So let's discuss some of them. So in Bahasa Indonesia, as in any language, there are cultural norms and etiquettes to consider. Here are some do's and don'ts. Okay, number one, you should use polite forms. This is the first thing you should learn, and this is also something that we emphasize in our complete Bahasa course. As you can see here, level 1 to 10, we teach you how to be polite and formal. But of course, when you are getting close to somebody, making friends in Indonesia, then you need to learn the informal Bahasa Indonesia, the casual Bahasa Indonesia. But first, when you are meeting the first time, the person for the first time, okay, quite complicated there. But yeah, again, if you meet the person for the first time, if you are meeting new people or somebody that is older than you, or somebody that has higher status than you, social status, I mean, you should use formal and polite Bahasa Indonesia first. Okay, so that's the first thing. But again, in the end of the day, you want to learn informal Bahasa Indonesia to be casual, to be fluent, to make more friends. Okay, but again, you should use polite forms, especially addressing elders or those in positions of authority, and use appropriate titles like Bapak or Ibu in formal situation. Okay, and then next you should greet appropriately. Selamat pagi, selamat siang, selamat malam, depending on the time, of course. Okay, so this is not very hard to understand. Okay. The thing that I realized with this is the use of kamu. A lot of beginners of Bahasa Indonesia, for some reason, they are using kamu to address somebody that they just met online or chat for the first time. Okay, that is not polite. That is quite rude. Okay, so do not use kamu when you're addressing people for the first time. Okay, yeah. So you shouldn't do that. Don't do that. Okay, if you want to be polite and if you want people to be polite to you as well. Okay, so use Bapak or Ibu, okay, and also you can call their name, for example, Bapak Jokowi, okay, Ibu Megawati, okay, those are very famous people in Indonesia, okay, or anybody else. Just use Bapak or Ibu to be more polite, and then next you should show respect by using saya or anda, okay, in formal or unfamiliar situation. But of course, if you are speaking to your friends, close friends, using saya and anda, you will sound very very awkward. That's when you want to learn informal Bahasa Indonesia, okay, something more casual. But again, if you are meeting for the first time, you should stick with saya or anda. Okay, use proper titles that just simply common sense. Use correct pronouns. As you can see here, use kamu for informal situation and anda for formal situation. Express gratitude. You need to memorize this if you haven't. How to say thank you, right? Or terima kasih banyak. That is thank you very much. Okay, apologize when necessary. You need to memorize this one also. You need to memorize the word maaf. Okay, maaf means sorry. Okay, or mohon maaf if you want to know the more formal apology. Mohon maaf, my apology. Okay. Again, this is just going back into some basic stuff that we have covered in our complete Bahasa course. We have level 1 available for free on YouTube, by the way. Use clear pronunciation. Yeah, this is of course takes time, but this would result in a lot more respect if you pronounce the word clearly so people can understand you better. Don'ts. Okay, so this is the don'ts. Avoid overly casual language in formal settings. This is what I'm talking about when I said about kamu. So you should not use kamu when you meet the person for the very first time, because that is overly casual and can sometimes be rude as well. So don't do that. Okay, don't interrupt. Avoid interrupting others while they are speaking. That is super rude. Okay, in Indonesian culture, sometimes I think in Western culture, sometimes this can be considered as rude. Sometimes it can be considered as normal. But in Indonesia, it is always rude. So don't interrupt. Don't use offensive language. Yeah, this is also true. I think this is also true in English, but I think in English culture, I think it is relatively more common to use offensive language. In Indonesian culture, I think people would refrain more to use offensive language. Don't assume familiarity. Don't assume familiarity too quickly. Yeah. Again, if you meet the person for the very first time, you should stick with formal bahasa Indonesia. Okay. Now, next one is avoid direct criticism. Okay, you should consider providing feedback in a more indirect and constructive manner to maintain harmony. This is just how Indonesian's culture is. Okay, we tend to avoid direct criticism. We tend to kind of find another way, an indirect way, a constructive way to criticize something or somebody. Okay, don't disrespect elders. This is just common sense. Now, this is also a thing about Indonesian culture. Don't touch people's heads. Okay, in Indonesian culture, the head is considered the most sacred part of the body. It's polite to avoid touching people's heads. Even playfully, you should avoid it. Don't touch people's heads. Okay, so yeah, that's essentially is. Yeah, remember the culture norms can vary. It's always helpful to observe and adapt. Okay, but yeah, I hope this is helpful for you to be more culturally aware of Indonesian culture. And if you want to learn more about Bahasa Indonesia, you can join our complete Bahasa course level 1 to 10. Okay, yeah, you will be able to get 50% off if you join now and buy our bundles from level 2 until 10. Terima kasih dan sampai jumpa.